Alright, Shalom to all you faithfuls out there, you elect. Alright. All praises, glory, honor, and adulation are unto Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Raha, Kwadash. Alright. First and foremost, I want to give double honors. First and foremost, I want to give all praises unto Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi. Alright. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, who have taught this word well. And I want to give a hearty shalom to all you Akim out there that's pushing this truth and laboring in this faith. You know what I'm saying? In truth and in sincerity in the dispensation of this word, alright? And so, we're going to start this off simple, alright? Our primary reason for being out here is to gather our people, to gather the elect of the nation of Israel, alright? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You are who we are here to gather, okay? But the elect among you, alright? So we can start that off, Akil.
32:7.
Khan, starting at 32:7. Yeah, Deuteronomy.
So Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7. It says, "Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee."
That's it. It says to remember the days of old. So you gotta study the history, alright? And inquire of the wise men, inquire of the men that were before you, alright? That the Lord has set up, your elders, okay? Continue that when you're ready.
It says, "When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel."
Kind. So when the Lord divided up the nations, okay? Because there was indeed a division. The Most High divided all the nations up and gave them their own lot. Gave them their own blessing. Alright? You see that say? What did that scripture say again, brother?
That's what I do, bro. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. It said, "When the Most High divided the nations."
When Yahawah divided the nations unto them their lot. Continue.
It said, "When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel."
He set the bounds of the people according to the number, right, of the nation of the children of the nation of Israel. And that word "children" there, when you really go into your studies, it's talking about the sons. Okay, the word there is "ban" in the Hebrew, which means sons. Continue.
It's verse 9. It says, "For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance."
For the Lord's portion is his people, all right? So we're out here telling you, according to the scriptures, you are the Lord's chosen people. Read that again up. Again, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, you are the Lord's chosen people.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 9.
Kind.
It said, "For the Lord's portion is his people,
Yep.
Jacob is the lot of his inheritance."
Yep. And as you know again, going back into the history, Jacob's name was changed to Israel after he triumphed over the angel, okay? He told the angel, "Give me a blessing." And the angel said, "Thy name shall no more be Jacob or Yahawashi, but Israel, Yasher Allah. For thou art a prince with the Most High." Okay? Continue that.
It's Deuteronomy chapter, Psalms 147 and 19.
There you go.
It said, "He showeth his word unto Jacob,
Yep.
his statutes and his judgments unto Israel."
According to these scriptures, the statutes, judgments, laws, prophecies, they all only belong to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today that make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You are not African American, okay? You are Israelites from your respective tribes. Continue that.
It said, "He hath not dealt so with any nation."
He hath not dealt so with any nation. Any other nation on the face of the earth was not given this law. Continue.
It said, "He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord."
As for his judgments, they do not know them. All right? Why? Because it was not given unto them. That is why they're called the heathen. All right? They are outside of the covenants, the laws, the statutes, the blessings that are to come. All right? Got something else?
This is Luke chapter 11, verse 28.
Okay.
It said, but he said, yea, rather blessed are they that hear the word of Yahawah and keep it.
God, blessed are they that hear the word of Yahawah and keep it. And the only ones that can hear the word of Yahawah are the children of Israel. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, that particular passage came from when Yahawashi rebuked the woman. That came with that blessed be the path that he have supped nonsense. Okay? Trying to say that the mother was worthy of praise. Alright? Which the mother, no, she was just a vessel that was created to carry that child, and that's it. Alright? She is not to be worshipped nor praised. Go ahead, Aki, you get that.
It's James chapter 1, verse 22.
Alright.
It said, but be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves.
And once again, this is only for Israelites. Alright? But only the elect are going to hear. Read that again.
It said, but James 1 and 22, but be ye doers of the word,
but be ye doers of the word,
and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves.
Not hearers only. And how do you deceive your own self? You hear the word, and immediately you believe, but you do not the works wherein. Alright? That's blasphemy. Okay? You deceive your own self. Go ahead, I can get that.
It says, for if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass.
Right.
For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was.
And straightway forget what manner of man he was. Okay? He's not focused. It's that simple. Alright? He straightway forget what manner of man he was because he is not focused. Go ahead, up.
So Revelation chapter 1 verse 3.
Okay.
It said, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Yeah, so the scripture says, blessed is he that readeth, and you know, basically right now we're reading out of the scriptures. So you gotta read the scriptures, and you gotta be able to understand what it's talking about. Because anybody can pick up the Bible and read it, but the Most High, you know, the Spirit has to, you know, give the increase. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the Holy Spirit that we refer to is what gives you understanding of the scriptures, and to be able to dissect and you know, be able to see, you know, understand what it's actually saying. You know, like the brother was saying, you know, the reason how we know that these people on the side, the tribe of Judah, the southern kingdom, down to the tribe of Issachar, the northern kingdom, the way that we know that they're the Israelites are according to prophecy, because you have our people, the so-called Negroes that went into captivity, that fit the certain prophecies according to Deuteronomy the 20th chapter. And you had the northern kingdoms, the so-called Latinos and the indigenous peoples of South Central and North America, who are indigenous to this so-called area, but we know that through the prophecy that they're the children of Israel. So that's how we're able to read and understand, you know, because these things, these particular things that we always go into week in, week out, usually they let us know who these people are, and we know that the scriptures even say that our people are going to be scattered abroad. So it's not just limited to so-called African Americans, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's also people who are scattered abroad, Israelites that were scattered abroad. So, you know, you got to include that in there also. So it says, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the word of this prophecy and keep it. So I can keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So, you know, you got to keep, and the word keep is talking about hold fast and maintain, because, you know, we know that basically America is Babylon. We know that there's going to be the economy is falling. We know that America's in a $21 trillion debt and rising. You know what I mean? We know that you know, the world leaders or whatever, they're basically setting up an environment where we're going to have the third world war, which the scriptures talk about. Yeah, we know that this is coming soon. We know that the end is near. You know what I mean? Russia, you got America, Russia, China, Iran, you know, and all, you know, NATO. You know that, you have those two diametrically opposed sides or whatever. They're gonna come against each other, and it's gonna eventually happen. You know, so that's one of the things that we teach. You know, if you pay attention, you know what I mean, if you're not just, you know, just listening to music on the radio or just watching mainstream media, you know, you're gonna be aware of these things, you know what I mean? But the average people, you know what I mean, they're only concerned about pleasure, fun, entertainment. They're not thinking about these things, you know what I mean? They wanna, if they have heard them, you know, they wanna put it in their subconscious mind or whatever, so that they try and forget that it's going on or happening.
And the thing is, right? When it's all said and done, the masses of the people, you know what I'm saying, they were put to sleep. Because at the end of the day, hey, it's like the elder apostle Gabar said, man, the word mass actually means death, okay? The word mass means death. When you go to a mass, you're going to a funeral. So the masses, the masses of the people, when you really look at it, like the elder apostle said, they're dead from the neck up, man. That's why they're called the masses, okay? But with that being said, the brother talked about Israel being scattered among the nations, man. Only an elect are going to be saved up out of what's getting ready to come, this third world's war, all right? And to prove what the brother just said, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, verse 19. And I scattered them. Who got scattered? Okay? And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries according to their way, and according to their doings I judged them. That's talking about us. The so-called Native Americans, the so-called African Americans, the so-called Seminole Indians, all right? All you people that subscribe to these names, these aren't your real names. We were scattered among all the heathen, all right? Not just here in the Americas, not just out there in England, but even in those those out of the way countries too. India, all right, among Elam, among Japhet, the so-called Japanese, among Ham, the so-called Africans, okay? As a matter of fact, the southern kingdom fled into Africa to escape persecution when Israel got sacked, man. These prophecies are all over the scriptures. The history is all over the scriptures, man, for you to see. But only the elect are going to subscribe to this, okay? And so we're out here calling for the elect, okay? And like the brother brought out, World War III is definitely coming. No matter how much people want to try to bury it in their thoughts, this place is going down. All right? America is through. Finished. Man, I got something. Better yet, get Revelations dealing with the third woe, being as though you brought that out. Or I could get that too much. If I could find it in Revelations. You can speak on it too.
Sit on your ear.
Whoa. You felt that?
It's Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6.
God.
It says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is his treasure."
Bring it out.
So it says, "In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times." And basically, this, you know, the wisdom and knowledge is basically this information that we're basically bringing out to you in the form of the scriptures, breaking them down. So it says, "In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times." So what's the stability? The stability is basically, you know, what keeps us together, what holds us together. Because, you know, me and this brother up here, you know, when these times hit, you know, we're prepared for it. Like the scriptures say, one of my favorite scriptures is, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, while the simple pass on
and perish." Exactly. Bring that. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So it says, "And strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is his treasure." Because, you know, somebody that really, you know, like we say, the word fear is not talking about necessarily being scared of, but it's talking about honoring or respecting, you know what I mean? And that's what we have towards the Most High. And that's what keeps in our mind, you know, that we're Israelites, that you have laws, we have a order or rules or a standard, a paradigm that we basically go by. So,
Revelation 11 and 14. This is the book of Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. It reads, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh. Quickly, Salakia. I'll read that again. Revelation chapter 11 verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
Yeah, the second war is past, talking about World War II, which you know what I'm saying, you had in the early, or mid or whatever you want to call it, around that time, early mid 1900s, which that's past already. But then, ever since then, you had like what they call the Cold War, which is when the Russia and America, they were in a arms race or whatever. They're building up their ammunition or whatever, and this is
a momentary ceasefire.
Yeah, and it's gonna come to where you're gonna have those countries and also other countries, that have nuclear capabilities or whatever, and they're gonna basically shoot missiles, like as you see illustrated on the side. You got missiles coming from China, Iran, Russia, North Korea. You know what I'm saying? These missiles are coming and hitting America. And also America, they're going to try and shoot missiles on these other countries too. And they have nuclear missiles also. So, that's what we're talking about. It says the end of the world. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the following. And that's 2 Ezra 6 and 9. And Esau is referring to none other than the Edomites. Referring to none other than the Edomites, which are, the people that we refer to as the so-called white men, or the Caucasians today.
Exactly.
So it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. And Jacob, like we said earlier, Jacob is the progenitor of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So it's saying that Esau, which Esau is in power right now, we're in the last, stage or leg of the Roman Empire, which were Edomites. And, next after that, Jacob, or the nation of Israel, is going to come into power, into play. And that's talking about our people. And we're going to be set up, and, we're going to have the kingdom.
Exactly. Absolutely right. And also, man, another thing too, according to prophecy, America is going to be 100% desert when the missiles drop, man. After the missiles drop and the smoke is cleared and the radiation then died down somewhat, America is going to be reduced to 100% desert. The scriptures say no man will dwell upon this land when this destruction comes. This place is going to be totally eviscerated. All right, you got it, Dr. G. You got it, Chief. America is going to be 100% desert, man.
So in Revelation 2 and 26,
Get it?
it says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. So it said he that overcometh. And one of the things that a lot of people say is, I'm saved or whatever, but you can't really say that until after, everything is basically said and done. So it says, and he that overcometh, because, you gotta, like the scriptures say in Mark 13 and 13, he that endureth unto the end shall be saved. So, you gotta endure until the end. You gotta go through all this trials and tribulations and like, we're just referring to, and then you're gonna know that you're saved.
Better yet, I got a scripture to back you up, but continue speaking.
So it says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I receive of my Father.
Right.
So it said, to him will I give power over the nations, because like one thing, another thing to teach, right, is that the non-Israelite nations are going into captivity under the Israelites. I mean, there's several scriptures. I mean, there's a bunch of scriptures on here, but I mean, they just prove, that we're not just, black supremacists or whatever. This is actually in the scriptures. These are scriptures that, you're not going to hear in your church them basically bring out because they have a doctrine that they want to basically push that's outside of the scriptures.
Yeah, a New World Order doctrine where everybody's the same, all right? Which is not scriptural. The Lord is not dealing with everybody being the same, everybody being one. The Lord separated everybody and gave them their portion. All the sons of Adam were separated and given their portion, all right? In the end, the scriptures even tell you that the Lord separated the nations one from the other, okay? When the end comes, the Lord is going to set everybody in their place and judge them according to their works, man. So this whole thing of everybody coming together to be one people, one this, one that, this was one world order nonsense. All right, this is not scriptural. You hear what the brother said? All these non-Israelite nations, okay, are going into captivity, including the so-called Africans, these Hamites, okay, Mizraim, Cush, Phut, and Canaan. They're going into captivity. All right. Not because, like the brother said, this is not a black supremacist thing. Not because their skin color is the same as most of us. And when you really look at it, not every Israelite is going to look like Sham. Not every Israelite is going to look like me or that brother, okay? We were scattered among the other nations, which means you're going to have Jake coming out looking like the other nations, okay? This is not about skin color. All right? You got something else?
So it says, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I receive of my Father. So like you were saying. So the scripture right here, it says Isaiah 40 and 15, as for the other people that come from Adam.
Yeah, come on.
What was it? Isaiah 40 and 15.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 15. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 40. Oh, do you want me to read up a little bit? Isaiah chapter 40, verse 15. All right. And it reads, Isaiah chapter 40, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing.
That's I mean, you read this, right?
You said Isaiah 40:15.
Yeah.
That's what this
All right,
says.
read it one more time. I guess
It's all good. No, it's all good. Come on. It's cool. This is Isaiah chapter 40. It's still to the point. Verse 15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket.
All right, gotcha. All right, yeah. So it says the nations are as a drop of the bucket. So if you got a bucket and a small portion falls out, I mean, you're not gonna care. You're more worried about the
big.
Yeah, the larger percentage.
Larger body. Yeah.
And what that's basically saying is that the Most High, because as you can see on the sign, right? Let me see. You got 18 nations, right? See one. You got one because you got Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Those are the three sons of Noah, right? That produced the if you read in Genesis 10, the table of nations, right? And you have the children of Israel, which are small in number, but that's who the Most High. That's the Most High's chosen people. So the other nations, the Most High really doesn't care about them or whatever. You know what I mean?
Can I read that again now? This is Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. Go ahead,
Yeah, it says there. Read it one more time. It's balance.
From the top. Oh, They are
Salak, I'm sorry. It said they're counted. The nations are counted. It said the dust of the balance.
small dust of the balance.
Small dust of the balance. So like if you're weighing something and there's dust on it, I mean, you're really not gonna care. It's not like it's it's not nothing. It's not gonna mean anything. So like those two analogies, dust of the balance, drop of a bucket. You know what I mean? The Most High looks at the other nations like they're nothing, basically.
Fine, exactly. Better yet, if I may too, right? Again, this is Isaiah 40 and 15. Now it says, "Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, it taketh up the isles as a very little thing." Now, I wanted to look up that word isles real quick, right? In the Hebrew, okay? And I have the word here as ayah or ayah or I. And it literally means coast, island, shore, region. That's what it means. Okay, the word isles, it says, and then in the Strong's definition, it says probably a habitable spot, dry land, a coast, an island. Okay, so basically it's talking about the earth. All right, they take up the isles, the islands. You understand what I'm saying? The land masses as a small thing. They're insignificant. Okay. Go ahead, I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
All right, so some other scriptures. All right, right here you got the scripture Exodus 21 and 16, right? Oh, let me start this book on.
Yeah, that's what
So this is Exodus 21 and 16. It says, "He that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death," right? So this is a law. This is one of the, out of the 5 books of Moses, the book of Exodus. This is a law, right? And the penalty, it says, "He that stealeth a man and selleth him," and were not our people sold to the, were not our people sold, the so-called Negroes, in the Western Hemisphere, brought to the Western Hemisphere, sold on slave auction blocks.
by today's standards, Salakia. Yeah, Salakia, but I was trying to bring this out. By today's standards, that would be called kidnapping, right? When you steal a man, that would be called kidnapping by today's standards. All right. So we were kidnapped from where we were. Okay. We were kidnapped and brought here unjustly to slave and build this place up. Go ahead, Salakia.
It said, "Or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." So this is basically a death penalty for doing that or whatever.
Yep.
And you can see, I mean, this is like, common knowledge or whatever. That they try and, make our people forget about it or whatever, but I mean, this isn't the slave ships. I don't think I got that, but this is some of the stuff that happened to our people. We say the wickedness of the so-called white man. Our people were lynched, they was beaten, they was burned, they was fed as alligator bait. Whipped, oppressed. You had Jim Crow, black codes. We're put in the ghettos, in the slums. We were discriminated against. Once he brought us over here, he tried to keep us at the bottom. And also not just the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Not just the Southern Kingdom. When I say Southern Kingdom, I'm talking about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which will be the so-called African Americans, West Indians, and then you have the Haitians, right? But also you got the so-called Native Americans, right? This is mainly the Native Americans, but the so-called white man came over here. He basically tried to play like he was cool with the Native Americans, stabbed them in the back, gave them smallpox, took their land, put them on reservations, killed them, tortured them, did certain massacres or whatever that were historically known. And this, it's like this saying, the Most High didn't forget all this stuff. There's gonna be payback or penalty for this stuff.
When you go through your historical studies, especially dealing with America, you had a thing called the Indian Removal Act, man. Okay, which was basically one of the premises for putting a lot of these so-called Native Americans, the children of Gad and Reuben, primarily on reservations, man,
And I was like, I don't want
to
your
remove
Molly.
them. Okay? The Indian Removal Act. That's something that a lot of us should look up. Going into what that brother just said, man. And then like cause he quoted Jim Crow. Jim Crow. You had what was it called? The back codes, the lynchings. Bring it up to today. Let's bring it up to modern day. You got Planned Parenthood, okay? You got a thing they call Project Megiddo. Alright? Let's bring it all the way back up to now. Alright, modern day. You got a thing called Project Megiddo to where now that we're in the truth, we know who we are. Esau trying to get rid of us, man. So just as it was in the past, so it is now. Okay? You got something else? You want to say some more?
Damn, there was something else I was putting out there. I kind of lost train of thought. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right, so let's further expand on this. All right, so now here you got let's see what's in the description. All right, well I mean here, right? You got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got about almost 10 scriptures that are talking about, how our people are gonna rule over the nations. You know what I mean? They never bring these scriptures up in the church or whatever. You're never gonna hear this. I mean, if they're reading if they're just straight up reading the Psalms or whatever, yeah, I'm sure there's Psalms. Yeah, there's one of these scriptures in Psalms 2 and 9. It says, Psalms 2 and 9, it says, thou shalt break them with the rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel, right? And that goes with that scripture in Revelations that I just read. That basically paraphrases scripture in Revelations, right? So you got it in the Old Testament and the New Testament. Alright. Did you have anything to say? Do you have any scriptures?
So far, no. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, I do. Yeah, kind of. I'm in the book of Zechariah, chapter 14. You're right. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, starting at verse 1. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 1. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. Alright. Verse 2. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the cities shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and women ravished. And half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Alright? This is historical.